Well, Tyler, first let me introduce myself. My name is Peter Gould. I'm an attorney. Been an attorney for 35 years, live and work in Santa Fe, and had really never heard of ayahuasca before about a year and a half ago, and that was through my son Jesse, who always had anxiety issues as a kid, but then after college he went and joined the Army Rangers and did 3 combat tours in Afghanistan. And when he came back, and he lost some good, he was never injured. He doesn't talk. He's a very, very humble guy, as most of these really special forces guys are. I mean, they're so humble. But when he came back, he'd lost a few friends and lost a few people that he trained with, and then one pretty horrific event where one whole helicopter of guys was just blown out of the air all one night, just ceased to exist. Never talks about it. And then after he came back, I haven't heard this directly from him, but I think a friend of his committed suicide, was just suffering in the same way. Anxiety, depression, not knowing where to put his feet on the ground when he came back. And so Jesse began to get more and more anxious, and I wasn't living with him. He was living off in Florida, but I did see him Thanksgiving 2 years ago, and he was just a wreck. And he was doing everything right. He had a Fortune 500 type job. He was doing what he was trained for in school, but he was drinking too much. He was unhappy. He was stressed out all the time, and he's the kind of guy that keeps everything inside. So he kind of asked my permission to go to ayahuasca, and I didn't really know. He says, I'm going to go do this thing, and but wasn't specific. He says, I'm just going to go get some help. And it wasn't until like maybe 6-8 months later he started talking about it. And one thing he told me, he said, after he started talking about it, because he has to process things. He's a processor. He said, Pop, last ceremony that we did, and this was down in Peru, and I understand now that conditions are pretty primitive and tough, but that's what he likes. He likes that challenge. He said, you need to come and do this with me. And I said, why? And he said, all during the last ceremony, I kept on seeing your face. So will you come and do it with me? And of course I said yes. Just a little background with me, when I was younger, 23, 24, did a lot of psychedelics, all the way from, started with the acid, but then kind of moved to the mushrooms and a lot of peyote, because I was living in South Texas where it was just growing underneath the trees down the road, And I got to a point where the cumulative effect, I just felt I didn't know where I was going, and I was lost, and I had to walk away from all of it. And so it was hard for me to say, yes, I'll go do this, but I didn't hesitate, because it's something, when your son asks you, hey, in that way, you just go do it. So I did one ceremony here on Monday night, or was the first night, I can't remember. It's been something. The week has been like a month long in a good way. And as soon as the ayahuasca started to take effect, 15 minutes in maybe, I knew right away. I started feeling I felt those same sensations I used to feel when I ate peyote or did the mushrooms. And I had I threw up for 4 hours, and I was weak all the next day. Wasn't until the day after, Wednesday, that I was kind of back to normal. Jesse brought a banana in the room for me, and I almost threw up with the smell of the banana. Not to scare anybody off, but it was brutal. As sick as I've ever been, throwing up after I didn't think I had anything left in me. But the message I got was, this, and it wasn't it was a good message. It was this, ayahuasca is not your path. So what happened in that ceremony was then I, in between being sick, what I saw was, well, why are you here? And what came to my mind was, you're here to help these folks in any way you can in the group. And that's what I've tried to do all week. So there's one guy who is just a brilliant guy. He's got a college degree. He was a coach of he was a leader of his teams in high school. I mean, but he went off track, right? Started drinking a lot. And to me, I saw a lot of what I experienced when I was really young and lost in him. It was kind of like a younger brother. So, it was on my heart to help him. And other people too. You just, you get a message, maybe I should just go and just sit down and talk to that person. And the conversation would turn into something that maybe they were giving me advice. But it was that whole week. And to me, the ceremony was central to it, but it didn't control the whole thing. I have never been in a situation where a group of strangers could get together and bond the way that this group has. And to me, just watching that and then watching the people progress through whatever they needed to do, because some people took the ceremony every night, some took it with massive doses, some just said, no, I want a little, others, participated a couple of nights, but everybody seemed to get what they needed. And they were very open in group sessions about saying, well, here's what I need. And people would come back and say, here, brother, sister, you don't see yourself from the outside, but we do. And we don't think you're screwed up as you think. Or what you told me resonated with me and you helped me. So it was amazing. As far as the facilities, number one, beautiful, comfortable, well taken care of, and it is a comfortable, peaceful spot, and they keep it peaceful. The staff, the facilitators, I mean, it has to be an exhausting job because they don't have a 9 to 5. They're up in the morning, they're eating with us, they're through the ceremonies, end at midnight, sometimes 1 in the morning, but always available, always not only affable, but I don't know how to say it. There's a way that this staff acts that's so incredibly professional, but it's dialed into the individual. You never felt like, oh, I'm talking to you so I can go through my checklist. Did you do this? Did you, No, they would go up to the person that was struggling with depression, and they would talk to them about that, or they would invite that conversation. And I saw it again and again and again. So to me, I didn't know what to expect. My son invited me down. I didn't ask. I just worked up to the last minute, got on a plane and came. Amazing. I mean, an amazing experience. And I'm taking away a lot of lessons that I've learned from those other people in the group about some of the dysfunctions that I carry through my life, and why certain things aren't working and why other things seem to be okay but not optimal. You know how it is. Because you get wrapped up. I mean, I love my work, and I believe my work is important, and I have really good clients, but I make it sort of my 24/7 focus. And I realize that that's going to make me sick, and it has made me sick, and I need to pull back from that. At the same time, still honor the work, but honor myself more. And I wouldn't have learned that if I hadn't been here. I mean, I knew that, but I didn't know it. You know what I mean? Thank you.